everyone. My name is Alahanchi Mali, or also in English, if you can't say it, it's Changing Winds. How's everybody going today? I'm glad to see a couple people up. Thank y'all for joining me. Today is going to be a kind of, it's about my breaking free from religion and rebuilding. And it's something important to me that just has to be said. And the title of it is Rebuilding After Religion, Who the Hell I Am Now. And you know, that fits me to the T. I have some other videos up that if you want to go check them out, check them out. I've got another 8 in the wind. Those will be coming out. Like I said, I'm going to try my best to do them every Tuesday at 7. And then the 9th episode will be the season finale. And it's going to be a good show. Hopefully some of my Native American family will be along in the chat with you guys. And I hope it helps. So, to me, leaving religion isn't just walking away from it. I had to tear myself all the way down to my fundamental faith, basic structure of who I am. And I'm going to put this out there. Whatever faith you are, whatever religion you are, doesn't matter. If it makes you happy, go for it. If that's what you can channel what's the best you go right ahead. But I was raised in a structure that's something that shaped and tried to control me. And it really did define who I was. And when it falls apart, you're left in the rubble. You're left in limbo. It was everything that I ever knew. And I allowed it to... I see your comment there, buddy. Exactly. And I could not fathom me as a Native American to agree with what happened to not just my Native American ancestors, but my Irish ancestors, my hunter-gatherer ancestors from way back. I have 71% DNA from a Neanderthal. That is crazy. And how long back did they say that they went extinct? They didn't go extinct. It's all still with us. And this episode isn't about regret. It's not about doctrine. It's not about fear. It's not about guilt. It's not about any of that shit. You and I do not need permission from anybody to question what you believe. And that questioning opens up other questions that you have to deep down inside you feel. And I'm not small anymore. Let me get one thing straight about this stuff. Religion doesn't give you faith. It conditions you. It tells you what the question is: rebellion, that's suffering, that's virtue, that's obedience, and the only way to be good. And being good isn't about your faith. Being good is being a good person. Being good is not, seriously, it is not the mechanism that makes you good. You are a good person if you're a good person. Exactly, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. You know, I had to step out of this faith. I grew up. No, but none of my family members told me I needed to go and get saved or whatever. I had a personal relationship when I was 8. I grabbed my older brother's hand and dragged him to the altar, and I gave my life to Christ at 8. Now, I didn't, my grandmother, my mom sure in the heck didn't, but none of my family ever asked me about my Christian testimony. And that's was essential for me. I lost dad. I had lost, it was my first person that I remember dying. The next person in my life that I actually had a connection with, I didn't even get to go to the funeral because I was at a freaking cult. I was in a cult because of the church, the state of Texas, my aunt, which I've talked about in other videos. My Uncle Johnny was the second person in my life that died, and I wasn't there. And I should have been there. So I had to break away. Once we'll get to it, brother. Let me, like I said, maybe season 2, because I'm going to do a break in the end of April, or the beginning of April. I think April 8th is my season finale on this. And I will do my best to figure out OBS and how to merge in other people. I know StreamYard, you can do all that stuff, and I'm not for sure on the prices. I think you could bring in one for free, or I don't know how all that works. So, and maybe a couple of people you know, and the ones we know, you should know who I'm talking about. They may be able to give us some advice, because I want to do something with you, brother. I want to do something with a lot of people. I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping by the end of the season, and then I can bring other people involved. And I would love to have you there, bud. I would. I think it would be pretty cool. And so just hang in there. I'll do whatever I can. Anyway, I let it define who I was. I played by the rules. I followed the book. I didn't get me any freaking where. My religion actually kept me from doing the things I wanted to do. I didn't know what YouTube wasn't there for me to have an avenue out. I always had to work at fast food or Walmart, or I was in the Navy, and that's not where I wanted to be. Everybody's like, you should be a preacher. Well, what kind of preacher, that talks about what I talk about? You didn't have those options. Nowadays, we have these options. And me breaking down those walls were difficult for me. And breaking down walls and breaking down barriers, and I just shoot it straight. I was probably, because of my grandmother and them being such older than me, my mother, they were very racist. And I grew up And I didn't believe in this shit. And I let my nanny have it right before she passed away. And I said, you're wrong about one. And I was 15 years old. And I said, you're wrong about one thing, Nanny. I love you. But your hate that you have, it ain't gonna fly. And she looked at me and she says, how dare you talk to me like that? And I'm like, no. I said, I'll put it this way. She started getting sick and we started having nurses come to the house. And she would have those nurses crying. Literally crying. Because they wanted to come in and help her and she would not let them. By the time they had put her, I don't know what happened because I was gone. Like I said, I was gone to the cult. But when I came back and she was in a nurse home and allowing people to take care of her, I asked my family and I asked the nurses, did y'all put her on some kind of medication? She still had hatred, but she wasn't nearly. But, you know, breaking down those kind of walls, I had to break those down. And didn't realize that, you know, the guilt and the freedom of leaving all this behind and breaking these chains that I had, I felt like, you know, people don't tell you it's a part of you, but when you leave, you just don't lose your belief. You don't. You lose people, you lose family, you lose friends, the community that you built in, and guilt is very unbearable. It was that way for me. Is it wrong? What if I do wind up in heaven or hell? I threw everything away for nothing. And that's how I felt. And breaking down that in itself was just brutal for me. And what can you say? What can you do? My whole family, I never mentioned it to my aunt that I had left. My mom, I didn't really care because, well, didn't care. Nanny was gone. My cousin Dusty, I haven't talked about him. But he was a gay man. His husband lived with him for years. And we were always really, really close. And being really close to him, I mean really close. And he was like, I was calling him my brother because of the way our family was situated. And it was about maybe 6 years before he passed away. And I never asked him this. I never asked him this before or after or anything. Well, after, yeah. And I said, Dusty, are you and Richard married? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, nobody's ever told me and I've never had the guts to ask you. And he's like, well, do you judge me for that? I'm like, nope. I always knew you were. But then he started opening up to me. He was on hospice and he had a bunch of health issues. And addictions too. He grew up in the 70s and 80s. Very thin. Him and his husband both. And he would come get me and whatever, and I'd spend, weeks with him. And he'd always have a Dr. Pepper in his hand, and he stayed thin. I didn't know how he stayed thin. He ate like a pig. But he was popping diet pills just to stay thin and stuff. And it came back and bit him in the ass. Caused him to have a heart attack. He was up over 600 pounds. He was like 6'6", 6'7", almost 7 foot tall. I'm 5'4" and 250. And that in itself was, he was already really tall, but seeing him blowed up like that, he had lost one of his legs. And he'd always say, I'm scared of dying. And I would say, why? And it always would come back to, because I'm gay. And I kept telling him, don't worry about that. Don't freaking worry about that. Sorry, guys, my lighting is acting funny. So, as I said, I broke down religion with him. But that's the truth. Guilt is a control tactic. It's how people keep you in line. And the moment you stop living in fear is the start of yourself, and you're beginning to rebuild that. Now, granted, really? Thank you. But you had to find meaning out of religion. Now, I tread softly on this because I did this my own damn way. People have asked me, how do you live without God? And my answer is I simply say easily. Mortality, purpose, meaning, none of that disappears just because you lose a religious belief. Take, for instance, we're not in America. You get born in Thailand. Their main religion is Buddhism there. And if you're there and you're from there, what's going to be more than likely your religion? Buddhism. So, doing good because I fear the punishment for it, I do it because I choose to. Like, I've become a lot more open and a lot more verbal too, to say what I need to say it. And I will say this, sometimes I'm very harsh with my wording. And, rebuilding after religion, it means redefining who you are. Not what some preacher or teacher or higher guru. It's finding your truth and who you are. That's the power. That's the power right there. Because then you could say, this is wrong because of this. And there's no way I could have even said that to my grandma at that young of age. My nanny was my world. But I had to break free from that crap. You know, I always questioned my beliefs. I always questioned what's after this. I sure in the hell don't know. I sure in the hell don't know. But I know what I went through on this planet is hell. We go through pains. We go through suffering. Look, I've got several chronic health conditions. Got one that messes with my heart. My electrical system of my heart is all jacked up. I have to watch the medication because medication can mess with it. When I got diagnosed with it, it was this is part of the reason why I do my podcast. And this is who I am now. And this is the part that I didn't know nothing about. I had to tear it all down. It's like you building a house, okay? And you laid the floors, to the rafters, and you're up on the roof. And you find out, damn, this house isn't level. So you gotta demolish it, even probably break up the concrete slab, and re-level all of it. And that's what it is. And you know, you have to break down your foundation. And sometimes there's no doctrine to tell you what to believe. You have to sorry, I keep checking to make sure there's no chats coming in. That's why I keep looking over. But you know, with labels taken away from me, I feel more powerful. I decide everything. I decide what I build, I shape my own damn identity. Not a church, not a book, not a preacher, not a pulpit. And that's my real freedom. And I'll take this another step forward. The people up in Washington, the people down in Austin, the people that run your state or country or whatever, that's on them. Let them do what the hell they want. Because I'm going to do what the hell I want. And don't ever allow somebody to tell you what the hell to believe. Because it's not them, it's you. It's you. It's nobody else. And it took me, my mom going, my aunt going, and those were the last two. My mom, not so much, but my Aunt Ann. It took her passing away to say the things I have started to say. And she was the most strict one on my personality. Sorry, guys. I have to get something to drink. But don't fear removing and trying your best to figure out who you are. I'll be 41 this year. If I would have learned the stuff that I've learned now, and I've the last 5-6 years, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. Does it make me sad on some of the things that I've learned and I should have learned back in my 20s? Yeah. It does. It bothers me that it took me this long. And you see, here's the thing. My kids. One, my daughter wants to be a truck driver. My oldest son wants to be a school teacher, choir teacher, which he's been choir of his life, but he was going to go to the army. He can't do it because of his ADHD, and so he's chose to be a teacher. And music, which, you know, say what you will about the school system, it's screwed up, but I mean, he's going to be a music teacher, so he's going to be able to do whatever. Caden, this one, he used to want to be a doctor. Now it's changed, and he's always in competition with me, though. I don't know why. He's like, well, my GPA is this, Dad, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I'm trying to beat yours because yours, you know. I'm like, why do you do that to yourself? And he's very cold-hearted, like cold and malice. But when it comes to me, I mean, he pops off to anybody anyway. But he'll sit there, and I'm like, keep on running it. Keep on running it. And then, of course, his mom, me and her are not together anymore. But she throws into his face, well, you know, your daddy was blah, 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 blah. And she's like, you need to be better than him, blah, blah. And I'm like, so he calls me, just taunt with me. And I'm like, what does it matter, son? What is it that you give? What is it? So, I want to say this. Own your rebuild. Leaving your faith or anything behind. It's not the end of your story. It's a beginning, a new one. You get to decide what you do with your life. When you get something and it's built real, nothing can tear it down. So pick up your pieces, keep what you want, throw away the rest of it. It's not your loss. You're rebuilding. You are stronger than you've ever been in your life. I can guarantee that. I can. Really? Sorry, guys. My lights just want to be a jerk tonight. But that's what I have for tonight. That's what I have. Please, if you need to rebuild something in your life, do it. Now, you may come from a totally different angle than I did. I grew up religious, okay? I grew up that way. And I felt like I did it the right way too. Because most kids, you know, they go to church and their parents constantly, you need to get saved. And when they do, they get saved because mom and dad go to church, and it's a big hoorah thing. My faith was on my own. My nanny never witnessed to me. My Aunt Ann never witnessed to me. I went down to the altar and I asked for forgiveness, and I did it. And people will say, you never was a Christian. Okay, seriously? I never was a Christian. Or they'll say, I'm not native enough. That's coming in some next episodes, by the way. The hell I'm not. Because of the way my life has came full circle. And look back at my other videos. Take a look at them. Take a listen. Because my story is there. My family story is there. I've talked about my journey. Journeys are hard, especially difficult to get over. I still fight to this day on some things. And one day I hope that I can really work them out. You know, don't, like I've said this before, and this is something that I live by. You don't do it just for yourself. You do it for everyone, or you don't do it at all. And I want to be out there, and I want everybody to help each other. You may not see the same way I see. You may not see those little things that I do. But we are all in this together. And we shouldn't allow the things that we allow into our hearts about others. Like I said, you're a good person or you're a bad person. And you can be a bad person and turn good, or you can be a good person and turn bad. I don't really know where I fit in on that. I really don't. I don't. Sometimes I'm the best person in the world of myself, and sometimes be the first one to tell you, like today, I'm having a crappy day. And this video fits right in. Don't be afraid to take a hammer, take a chisel, start breaking down walls. Do it. Do it. And I want to encourage some of you guys that are on YouTube, and you got a channel sitting there doing nothing. You've had a channel for 15, 20 years and never ever uploaded one video. Get your butt up and find something you want to talk about. And talk about it. That's what I'm doing. Hope it helps. I mean, I kept, for years, I was like, I want to do YouTube, I want to do YouTube, I want to do YouTube. And people's always, you really should do a show. You really should do preaching. I'm like, I'm not a preacher. But I am a teacher. And I am a student also. I hope that if you're younger than me and you come across my channel, I hope it helps you. And if you're older than me and my age, don't be afraid to do something. It's never too late. All right, everybody. That's for tonight. Next Tuesday, 7 p.m. It's already listed on YouTube. It's already scheduled. Remember, if you only do it for yourself, it ain't worth it. If it's for the rest of us and everybody can benefit for it, then you better do it. Because nobody else will. I'll see y'all next week. I hope y'all have a good weekend. And I will see y'all next time. Y'all have a good one, guys.